Formula One racers pilot some of the world's quickest cars, but what kind of cars do they drive home from work? After all, the average wage in Formula One is a stunning $10 million. So, who is the Formula One king of supercars? Welcome to DRS. Let's begin with Max Verstappen, the 2021 and 22 Formula One champ. He has become the sport's face, receiving a stunning $55 million in base salary in 2023. But his car collection is unique. He has a DB11, a DBX SUV, a DBS Superleggera, and a Vantage in the garage of his $17 million Monaco mansion. But he's not done with the British automaker.
Yeah, feels like you're almost sitting in a Formula One car.
He also has an Aston Martin Valkyrie, which he was recently caught speeding through a tunnel in France after being filmed. The Red Bull collaboration has a top speed of 400 km per hour and costs roughly $3 million. Despite his expensive collection, Verstappen's daily driver appears to be a Renault Clio. Yes, I'm serious. Max's first vehicle was a Clio. He learned to drive in it. What's more, Verstappen was a Formula One driver before he could legally drive. At only 17 years and 166 days old, he made his complete Toro Rosso debut at the 2015 Australian Grand Prix. He passed his driving test 6 months later, which is an astounding accomplishment. But I'm not convinced you can be the king of supercars if you're cruising around in a Clio. Lando Norris comes next. He is one of Formula One's youngest drivers at only 23 years old, but he already earns more than $20 million per year. He's amassed an extraordinary collection of supercars, but here's the thing. The McLaren driver loves to drive McLarens. He has a McLaren 570, a GT, and a 720S are among the vehicles on display. But pricey automobiles are nothing new for the Formula One talent. In 2019, his father Adam Norris was declared the 501st richest person in the United Kingdom. And while Lando's car collection is impressive, especially for someone so young, he'll need to add to it before we can crown him king of the superstars. Fernando Alonso, the oldest driver in Formula One in 2023, is one of the world's most successful racers. Fernando Alonso is a two-time F1 champion, a two-time Le Mans champion, and a Daytona winner. He's estimated to be worth over $240 million, and he's put that money to good use. The former Ferrari driver owns a Ferrari 458 Italia, a Maserati Gran Cabrio, and the magnificent Ferrari California, which is an impressive collection in and of itself. But if you want to be the king of supercars, you need something more, like a car named after you, which Fernando contains. His prized possession is a Ferrari 599 GTB Alonso F1 Edition. It has a 6-litre V12 engine with 739 horsepower. It can accelerate from 0 to 60 miles per hour in 3.3 seconds and costs $1.7 million. But has Alonso won the title? Not if our next driver has anything to do with it. Lewis Hamilton is a 7-time Formula One champion. Lewis Hamilton holds the record for the most victories, pole positions, and podium finishes. He presently earns $40 million each year in basic salary alone. He's possibly the best Formula One driver of all time, and his vehicle collection is equally GOAT. He has a combination of modern masterpieces. The first is the $2.7 million Mercedes-AMG Project One, which is so powerful that it is illegal in the United States. Then there's a $1.1 million McLaren P1 and a $2.2 million LaFerrari Aperta, along with some older classics such as this 1966 Chevy Cobra 427, which is valued over $2 million. But just because Lewis Hamilton is one of, if not the greatest drivers of all time, and drives some of the most gorgeous cars ever made, doesn't mean they're always well cared for. Hamilton smashed his purple Pagani Zonda into parked cars on the streets of Monte Carlo in 2015. Fortunately, no one was injured, and Hamilton has since sold the Zonda, stating the Zonda is terrible to drive. It has the best sounding car I own, but the worst handling. So surely no one can challenge Hamilton for the throne of supercars. Can they? There is, however, one man who might surprise you, but first some honourable mentions. Sebastian Vettel, the four-time world champion, is currently retired. In his career, he is projected to have made $367 million. When Vettel was younger, he looked up to the three Michaels: Jordan, Jackson, and Schumacher. But when you're 5'9" and can't sing, your alternatives are restricted. So he ended up following Schumacher to Ferrari, which is represented in his garage. A 2016 LaFerrari, a 2004 Enzo, a 1996 F50, and a California T may all be found here. Vettel, on the other hand, prefers to ride his, wait, here it comes, bicycle, rather than sit in traffic in one of his Ferraris. Yes, a bicycle, folks. Daniel Ricciardo, dubbed as the Formula One Honey Badger due to his daring racing style, is up next. Ricciardo has a $15 million contract and, like Max Verstappen, is putting it to good use by owning a $3 million Aston Martin Valkyrie, but mainly the Honey Badger drives around every day in his Porsche 918 Spider, a $1 million plug-in hybrid with fewer than 1,000 ever produced. Then comes Charles Leclerc, the previous 2 times FIA Rookie of the Year. Leclerc appears to be the driving force behind Ferrari's comeback in Formula One, but things aren't going so well for Charles. His $24 million salary has allowed him to build an incredible garage. The crowning jewel of Leclerc's collection, at only 25 years old, is his $3 million Bugatti Veyron. The Chiron is one of the most powerful automobiles ever made, with approximately 1,500 horsepower. But possessing just one Bugatti isn't enough to be the king of supercars. This takes us to our final contender, Adrian Sutil. We warned you that our last name would surprise you. Adrian Sutil hasn't competed in Formula One since 2015, and his career was marred by controversy.
But now Nico Rosberg, oh, and there is Adrian Sutil!
He was convicted of grievous bodily harm in 2012 after assaulting the owner of the Lotus F1 team in a Shanghai nightclub. However, Sutil's automobile collection may be the best of any F1 driver ever. According to rumours, Sutil has not 1, not 2, but 7 distinct Bugattis. This includes his most current model, the Bugatti Mistral. He also owns 2 purple Paganis, a Huayra and a Zonda, which is similar to Hamilton's former purple Zonda, which is interesting given that the two were close friends until Sutil's trial in 2012. Sutil, like Hamilton, isn't always the most careful driver off the track. Sutil wrecked his orange McLaren Senna LM into a light pole on the streets of Monaco in 2020. And here's the kicker, only 20 Senna LMs were ever produced. Damn! But we haven't even discussed Sutil's 2 Koenigseggs, his 70th anniversary California T, or his beautiful Mercedes SLR Sterling Moss. As a result, Adrian Sutil is our F1 king of the supercars. Should Hamilton, with his 7 F1 victories, be at the top of the mountain, or is there someone we've overlooked? Let us know in the comments and don't forget to like and subscribe.